Now, I don't intend on getting on camera very often on this channel, just because I don't want to scare the kids. But something I just want to share with you that I was reading about today. Now, one of the things which you're probably going to find is that once you start to get into using a Mac, that there are, if you join like the Facebook groups or you go on Reddit or any kind of social media, there are people who go on there and say, how do I install such and such? To which the answer is, well, just purchase the software and download it. And then the truth comes out and people say, yeah, but it's too expensive. How can I run it without paying for the software? So they're looking for pirated copies of the software, right? Now, one of the issues which I've always said about pirated items is that there has to be a motivation for the piracy. And sometimes the motivation is, I hate the fact that this costs money and I'm going to break it and make it available for everyone to use at much cheaper or free cost. But a lot of the time, this hacking and cracking of the software requires specialist techniques which often require training and resources. In other words, money, right? So they're going to do something because they're going to do this because they want to gain something back from it. Well, today I've just been reading an article on Dark Reading in which pirated software for macOS is being largely exploited by a piece of malware called Activator. Now, what happens with this is that these hackers and crackers, they find ways to bypass the protections on pieces of software. And one piece of software that I noticed listed specifically was called Snagit, which is screen capture software. Very good, but also not free. So what's happening is that people are going onto websites or even downloading this quote-unquote cracked software from torrent sites or whatever else, obtaining the software, and whenever they run the software, there's two things in there, and the instructions say to copy both things to your applications folder. Whenever one of these is run, it asks for the username and password, which immediately causes the computer to deactivate certain protections which are in place. Mac has something called Gatekeeper, which prevents people from installing potentially dangerous software. So it disables Gatekeeper, and it also basically opens up your Mac so that the people who install this malware can reconnect to your Mac at any time and install other pieces of malware as they see fit. Essentially, being able to have them take over your computer in some way. And you may not even notice this. It could be that one day your internet speed feels very sluggish and very slow, and what's happened is that your computer is being used as part of an attack against someone else. So here's my advice. Don't download pirated software. Be very careful what you download on the internet. Macs have long had the reputation of being fairly well protected, and they are to an extent, but it doesn't mean that you can just delegate your accountability for your own computer. So strongly advise, do not go looking for or installing any kind of pirated software, and if you do purchase cheap software from somewhere, I would highly advise that you at least do a little bit of research and check to see how reliable that website or that store is before you make that purchase, because you might be getting something extra that you don't want.